ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా, విద్యార్థులారా,
Welcome to Inside Scoop, a podcast that brings you practical servings of Swami's sweetest teachings. Today's speaker is the former Deputy National Teen Youth Coordinator and sails through life by holding on to Swami's feet. Hi, Satishaka.
Sai Ram. Hi, Neera.
Akka, you know the drill. We're going to start with a game, and I'm going to play 3 bhajans, and your task is to guess whose voice it is. Does that sound good?
Okay, so fingers and toes crossed. Swami, help me on this. Yeah, let's do this.
जय गणेश पाहि मां श्री गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश पाहि मां श्री गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश पाहि मां श्री गणेश रक्ष मां.
Any guesses, Akka?
Okay, who cannot know this voice, right? I think this is Brother Ravi Kumar, Ravi Anne's voice.
Amazing, absolutely, it is totally him. Okay, second bhajan.
Okay.
कोई बोले हरि हरि कोई बोले राम राम कोई बोले हरि हरि कोई बोले राम राम कोई बोले दुर्गा काली कोई बोले साई माँ.
Any guesses?
Oh, Neera, this is my favorite song and
my
rendered
God,
by
me
my
too.
favorite singer. This is none other than Ame Deshpande Anne. Ame brother Ame.
100%. You're too good at this, la.
I
Okay.
don't know la.
I'll give you a harder one. This is the last and
let's
final
try this.
bhajan.
Okay, let's try this.
साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि.
Any guesses?
Okay, I know this voice as well.
Amazing.
I think. Okay, let's try this. This is Brother Anirudh, right?
Yes, fantastic. Oh my God, 3 out of 3. You're too good at this. You obviously have wonderful listening skills. So maybe you can help me identify the mother of all voices, the most powerful, all-knowing voice that Swami calls the voice of God. That each one of us has access to, and that is the inner voice.
Yes.
So my first question is, who is this inner voice? You know, when I think of inner voice, I'm expecting this deep, godly voice to say, "My child, this is what you got to do." You know, that kind of thing.
Like Morgan Freeman.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what does it sound like, and what form does it take? Is it actually a voice, or is it just another thought? And where is it coming from? Like, which part of our body?
Okay, that's like a lot of questions bombarded at one point of time. So before I start answering the question, I should just put a disclaimer here, saying that I'm speaking here today not because I've known everything. I'm just a fellow probably a traveler. I'm just on my pilgrim, I'm just taking this travel towards Swami with that intention that I want to be closer and dear to Swami and follow all his teaching. So whatever that I'm going to share today is my personal experiences and my personal understanding. So, coming to the question. If you ask me, what is this inner voice? Some people say it is your subconscious or unconscious mind telling you what is the right thing to do. Or some even say that it is the sound of buddhi and chitta. It's coming from there, where it is going against your manas, to tell your dharma. If you ask how does it sound, for me it's it comes with a very strong statement. It's unwavering and it's always says the truth, which is never changing. It's always the same throughout, any time, any period of time, any environment. It doesn't change. It just says the same thing again and again. For me, I usually, because I am going through this, I hear it as though I'm talking within, but with a deeper, it makes more sense when that inner voice speaks, because it's coming from the buddhi and chitta compared to the manas. Yeah.
From what you're saying, the inner voice comes from the buddhi or the chitta as opposed to the manas or the ahankara, and all these are different parts of the mind. Can you explain to us how these different parts of the mind work?
Okay, absolutely. Okay, let's look at the faculty of mind. Okay, because usually when we say mind in English, probably it doesn't communicate well. But when you look into Swami's teaching, or even in Sanskrit, you can see the mind has that 4 important parts, like how we say. Okay, now let's imagine. Okay, let's imagine we have a DJ mixer. Okay, in front of us, we have a DJ mixer. Okay, so if you have seen this, so sometimes when you push one button up, another also just follows and moves up. Okay, so this is how usually a DJ mixer works, right? Okay, now let's imagine we have these 4 buttons in our DJ mixer. Okay, so 2 of the button that works closely is manas and ahankara, and another 2 that works closely is chitta and buddhi. Okay, now what manas means? Okay, of course you want some explanation here, right? Okay, manas, okay, it has all our senses, okay, our jnanendriya and karmendriya. So that means through manas you actually get to see things, hear things, smell, touch and feel, and taste things. Okay, basically this is how your body works, right? Okay, so that is your manas. Okay, and then you have ahankara, which is let's not go yet at that egotistic mind. We are just sticking to its natural form, which is it's actually that identity that is giving. Okay, so this is how. Okay, let's see now when these 2 buttons, what happens when this moves. Okay, so when the manas take over, okay, our thoughts, what happens is we tend to give in to raga and dvesha. Now what is raga and dvesha is our likes and dislikes. Like for example, I love this food, so I want to eat more. Okay, or I hate that song, I'm not going to sing that anymore. Okay, or I love this movie, I want to watch this until 3 a.m. So it's okay if next day morning I don't wake up for my meditation. Those kind of things start to happen when we give our thoughts to the manas. Okay, now what is wrong in this? Okay, what can go wrong? Number 1, okay, when we give our everything to this manas, to our sensual pleasure, okay, we won't know, okay, what is exactly good for us. Okay, it's basically about my likes and dislikes. Okay, but we don't know how long this can be there. Okay, it's like taking medicine. Although my tongue hates that bitter taste, I need to take it so that I can get better. Okay, so that is the risk we take when we let raga and dvesha of the senses to decide. Okay, whether if I like it, I want to do. If I don't like it, I don't want to do, kind of thing. So we cannot do that because it won't give us a long-term happiness in that sense, or peace in that sense. Okay, and secondly, this is where the danger comes in. When we let this our senses to take over our mind, okay, our of the faculty of mind, what happens is the ahankara, okay, the Swami says this is the biggest sin that one can do, which is having that thought of doership and enjoyership. So this is where the button comes in. When you push the manas hub, where you give the control to manas, the ahankara that's supposed to be identity become egotistic mind, where it starts to say that, oh, I am entitled for this, I have done this, those kind of. So this is how the DJ mixer, when one button goes up, another just follows and go. Okay? So this is where things can go wrong, and unfortunately this is where most of us are struggling in that sense. So what we can do, the opposite, is to look at the other 2 buttons, okay, which is chitta and buddhi. Okay, what is Chitta? Chitta is our awareness, our inner awareness, okay? That means we have all the storage, all the details stored in Chitta, where it has all the details about our karmas and dharmas. So it knows why we have, took this birth.
Wow.
Why in this family, why in this particular environment, why in this certain career path. It has all that we need, because at the end of the day, why we have Chitta and Buddhi is to bring us to our ultimate path, which is moksha. Okay, we all can go through this artha, dharma, kama, and finally moksha. Okay, because yes, sailing on desires, we go through certain things, that's completely fine. But ultimately, Swami says we all must yearn for that liberation, that moksha. Okay, that coming to that non-binding activities. Okay, so that is the work of Chitta and Buddhi. So when you increase this Buddhi and Chitta, they work together. Okay, so to bring us toward the right path, which is ultimately to liberation, our moksha. Okay, so these two buttons, they can guide us what is the right thing to do. So not just based on our likes and dislikes, but what is the right thing to do? What is my dharma? What am I supposed to do? So these two guys will be able to tell us. So this is how our DJ mixer works.
Fantastic. Akka, this has been life-changing for me, because often we hear this debate of, following your head versus following your heart. Which one should you follow? And so I've always thought that the mind is just a bundle of thoughts and the inner voice comes from your heart. But actually what we call the inner voice or the intuition or this gut feeling, it all stems from the mind as well, right? It's just different parts of the mind that we are activating and using. And that's no wonder Darshana Akka in her last episode said that the mind is such a powerful tool for our growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
So
Definitely.
Maybe we should start calling it wisdom or higher consciousness rather than inner voice, because it can be quite confusing if we call it inner voice, right?
Yes. People might think that we are schizophrenic or something. We started hearing voices.
Exactly.
No, we are not.
But Akka, how do we differentiate between the manas and the ahankara part of our mind versus the buddhi and chitta part of our mind? How do we know who is driving this thought that we are having?
Okay, so manas and buddhi, let's look at these two aspects. Okay, so before going to manas, we know that we established that manas is always driven by our senses. Unfortunately, that's what we are all going through, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hold on to that thought and let's look at how powerful buddhi is. Okay, so when we know how much buddhi can impact our life, to the right path, then we will know, it's much more easier to differentiate manas. So I will cover the manas part later. So let me talk about buddhi. Okay. So buddhi, Swami says, it is placed very close to Atma. Okay. Now, what is Atma? Atma is divine himself. He is Swami, Swami. If you take Atma, there's nothing so divine about this human life.
Right.
Just my thought. So let me share my experience here on what will happen if you tap into buddhi with Swami's grace. Okay, let me do this. Not so long ago, just for Raya Haji holiday, what happened is I happened to come across this one ad saying this particular method of meditation will give you access to your subconscious and unconscious mind when you are awake. Okay, so which I was really triggered, because I'm always interested in this kind of things, just to know whether how we can meditate. And happened to be there was a free master class, so I went in. Okay, he even said, if you follow my class, come and pay this much. Okay, it's quite a lot, trust me. And then he said, and fuel your desires so that you will get what you need. Okay, through this, to an extent that you can even self heal yourself if you continuously do for 3 days, 3 times a day, for 4 weeks. He said.
Right.
So this is where it got really messed up for me, because for me, the moment you say you fuel your desire, something was really off. So after that, I couldn't listen much, and he was also condemning the so-called passive meditation, because Swami said, dhyana, this is the way you must dhyana. It takes you from, Manomaya to Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. There's a process to follow, okay? And definitely there's no desire in this process. So I was so confused. And the confusion to an extent, my manas started taking over me, okay? So one part of my mind said, oh, probably this is what Swami wants you to listen. Probably this is what Swami wants, join the class. I was like, and another part of my manas, no, don't listen to that part. But you can still follow, it's like, so I was like a tennis ball between two tennis players. So I was so agitated. So what my chitta told me, definitely I heard this strong, inner voice telling me, just go to sleep. Let's see tomorrow morning. Okay, it's just that what I needed at that point of time. Let us sleep. Next day morning, I always start my day with my meditation. So I said, before sitting into meditation, again my manas came. Now, ask Swami, why are you keeping quiet? Talk to Swami, challenge Swami. Again, the manas coming. Again, I had to tell myself, this is not about challenging Swami's power or anything. What I wanted is just to clear my thoughts, because there's already a doubt created my good manas, so-called manas. So I want to clear it off. So I started calming myself. I cleared my intentions with my Chitta Shuddhi. I told, I just wanted to know, Swami, if I'm doing the right thing with this meditation, am I doing my sadhanas properly? And if there's something wrong, just teach me. I don't want to hear from another person.
Right.
I just directly told, okay, that's my Chitta Shuddhi. Okay. So I just sat in meditation. And what happened was something that totally different from my usual meditation feelings and whatever that I see. It's totally different. It wasn't my usual routine. Something totally different. Okay. So the first scene, okay, what happened is, I have to tell why I came here, right? So I totally forgot what I asked before that. So because I was, like a tennis ball between two tennis players, I was agitated, and suddenly something told me, let's challenge Swami for self-healing. Okay. Okay. So that's when my chitta said, no challenging, just asking only. Okay. So what I did, out of nowhere, I thought, okay, Swami, I have this knee pain, which for past 2 years, I think I injured myself during exercise or something like that. To an extent that I couldn't pray, I couldn't sit, I couldn't drive, I couldn't go up the stairs, down the stairs, drive. It was going haywire. So out of nowhere, I don't know, this is where probably the buddhi, I don't know, said, let's ask Swami for this knee healing. So I told Swami, this is the thing, Swami, if you, with your grace, if you can cure this knee in this one meditation, I will take this as your teaching that don't listen to all this outside noise, just listen to your buddhi, which is I'm speaking from you. Okay.
Yeah.
I decided to do that. So I sat. So this first visualization, out of nowhere, I didn't prompt. It just started happening. Okay. Where in the first scene, I saw Swami was holding my knees and I was crying and shouting, pain, Swami, let go, let go. And then suddenly the next scene came about where Swami was still holding my knees and there was light coming from his hand towards my knee, and I was slowly getting better. And the third scene changed where my knee was completely cured in that particular scene, third scene. Okay. I thought, okay, what is this? This is something new and everything. So, and then I came out of that. After the third scene, I came out of my meditation. I just prayed as usual, and then I just went back to, the usual routine. And then evening, I went to exercise. Okay. I couldn't, ever since this knee pain, I couldn't exercise as usual, but, I was just trying to push myself, But then that day, when I started exercising, that's when I realized I could do more than what I did for the past 2 years.
Wow.
There was no pain. Yeah, absolutely no knee pain. I could do more running, I can jog more longer. That's when I thought, apa sudah jadi? What happened to my knee? I didn't know this was the power of buddhi. Tapping into this, that means you can access to what you need if it's meant to be. So that's how powerful buddhi is. Now, you may ask, okay, Akka, I know buddhi, this is how powerful. You can't miss that elephant in the room. You're saying it is so strong and everything. But still, how am I missing that elephant in the room?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is my experience. when I started this journey, I also had the same trouble where I was constantly stuck and sucked between my manas. Okay, because again, manas is always work closely to the senses, and we don't just let our senses do work, but we make them to decide our life. Okay, so what happens is manas will always push you towards impulse and desire. In the heat of moment, you will make a decision.
Right.
If you are feeling that you are doing, that is your manas, not your buddhi. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, let's say in a heat of a moment, okay, let's say I took a job of teaching. In a heat of a moment, I said, the current corporate job I don't like. I just want to skip and be a teacher. I'm going, okay, because I don't like this job. So I already said I'm making this decision because I don't like. That means my sense is coming in, right? So I went to teaching job. When I take up the teaching job again, my boss is not correct. My boss is always giving me problem. I don't like to teach this subject. Why this school is giving me this subject? Constant questioning, constant bickering happening in your mind. Okay, if you take decision based on manas, you will be constantly in self-doubt.
Right.
Whether you have made the right decision or not. Okay, so you won't be having a peace for a long term. If you give way to your manas, the ocean will be constantly choppy. There won't be peace. There won't be clarity in your decision making. Okay? But if you give the decision to buddhi, when you listen to that inner voice where Swami is speaking through you, through your buddhi, even if you take that decision for the career change to become a teacher, even if you have the worst boss, even if you have given a subject that you don't want to teach, you will understand that today I'm here for a bigger purpose. Then you will reach there peacefully and also sometimes quickly with Swami's grace.
Completely agree with you, Akka. It's hard to express the difference between the manas and the buddhi because it's just a knowing, right? And sometimes language can't adequately describe it. But as you said, I've noticed when I don't listen to that higher consciousness, I'm left feeling very uneasy or unsettled. But when I do follow that voice, it makes me feel at peace despite it being a difficult decision.
Absolutely.
But Akka, many people recommend to increase our ability to hear the buddhi and quieten the manas, we should meditate. But I personally find meditation really difficult. Do you have any tips for consistently hearing the buddhi and how we can make this voice louder?
Okay, so I have some tips, okay? Sure. Because when I started, I had some difficulties as well. I found a hack which helped for me, okay?
Right.
Where I learned how to trick my manas, okay? So, as I said, what is our manas? It's all our karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. Now, at this point of time, listen to your body, okay? See what is happening in your body, okay? And especially to these 5 senses. Right. So some people have heightened sense, okay? Certain senses work much better for them, okay? More efficiently or more compared to the other 3 or 4 in that sense, okay? So for me, my listening, okay? My ears and my smell, okay, these 2 senses were working beyond what they need to.
Over time.
Okay? Over time. So whatever that I listen, it just gets registered into my mind. Whatever that I smell, just registered into my mind. So sometimes it is good, but sometimes it makes me very agitated in that sense. Like for example, if I keep listening to songs or radios or people talking, that means I cannot find that peace, that calm state I need to bring my awareness, to where I need to.
Right.
So this is what I did when I want to do reflection journals or or anything. Even sometimes during work, where if I need more concentration, more awareness, what I do is I play this kind of music, slow music, calm music, even sometimes Zen music. Okay, just calm myself down so I can bring more awareness to what I am doing or what I'm reading in that sense.
Right.
Okay, so it's like a hack. Instead of listening to songs or movies, I've shifted myself to this. So my hearing sense still works, but now I am making it to work for my benefit. So the
Right.
control is no more to manas, but I'm
Mm.
trying to bring the control to my chitta in that sense.
Right.
And same goes to smell. I think probably this is why, when we do certain rituals, they have agarbatti, the incense stick, because for some people it's a sensory load. Okay, we are loading
Right.
that particular smell. So we always go back to that awareness. Your mind always say, okay, this is my calm time, or my prayer time, or my reflection time. So what I did is I started using this certain candles, certain perfumes, certain agarbatti, whichever that works for me. So when I sit, I also make sure that this is burning at one side, so that I shut down all my senses for unwanted thoughts to what I need to. And along with this, definitely too, if you want to hear it more louder and louder, this is where all the sadhana comes in. It is why Swami have given us the buffet of sadhana, right?
Right.
If you can take the path of karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, anything, but try to, if you mix and match like this, by hacking your mantras and also doing the sadhana, tell me if it works for you or not.
Definitely. Brilliant hack, Kaka. And now we come to my final question. For some of us, the voice of the buddhi is already very strong. We know what the right thing to do is. But most of the time, this buddhi will give us difficult ideas. For example, quit that corporate job, or don't eat that cake at 9 p.m. at night. But then there's this other voice that says, how can you quit that job? You need the money. Or you can start your diet tomorrow. What's the big deal? So how do we not allow the manas to override this buddhi? What can we do to develop that discipline to follow the buddhi's instructions?
Okay, I totally understand. Yes, as I said, we are all in the same journey. I'm also trying to navigate. Usually, why we don't want to hear this particular higher conscious or this buddhi, okay?
Right.
Most of the time, it is the fear, okay? Fear always will blind our faith, okay? Fear shakes our faith. So, and we always have this fear of being judged, or fear of failure. It all comes back down to the raga and dvesha, which is what is my likes and what is my dislikes, okay? So, to overcome this, we have to develop a very, very important skill, which is the listening skill. Because the moment we say about voice, it's correlate to listening, right? If there's a voice, you must listen. If you don't have the listening skill, then you can't hear what is saying. So what kind of listening we should have, okay? We should have the active listening compared to the passive listening. Passive listening basically masuk telinga kanan, keluar telinga kiri. Okay, so we should not have that. We should have that active listening skill, which is in Swami's way of saying is Shravanam, Mananam, Nidityasanam. That means first step is Shravanam. So listen with an open mind. What is your buddhi and chitta is trying to tell you? Before just shooting them down, at least give them benefit of doubt, right? Listen to what they're trying to say to you. Okay. So first thing is listen with an open mind. Just hear fully. Sometimes you don't even let that particular statement to finish. Immediately, no, I cannot do. So don't jump. Listen full statement. So that is Shravanam. Okay. Next is Mananam. Okay. Try to ruminate what that particular chitta and buddhi or your higher conscious is trying to tell you. Try to rewind that again and again. See what is exactly it's trying to tell. Okay. Take this career so that you can find your soul satisfaction, probably. Okay. Or maybe it's saying that you don't need that much of money, you just need certain money for your financial responsibility. I think you can take this job. Just listen carefully, try to ruminate and see what is there being presented to you from the chitta and buddhi. And finally is Nidityasanam. Meditate upon it. Okay. Try to absorb everything and see yourself, visualize yourself. If I follow this, what is there lying in front of you? Is it going to take you to that ultimate path of that liberation, where the non-binding activities, can I do that? Okay, will I be able to follow Swami's teaching in a long-term sense, in that sense? So this kind of, when you meditate, and of course Swami is always there, He is definitely going to guide, because Swami said, right, just you need to take one step. I will take the 100 step for you, La. Just take that one step,
Absolutely.
So, when that happens, I'm sure with Shraddha and Saburi as well, because when you do all these things, sometimes you might not get the answer immediately, but with that faith and perseverance and knowing that Swami is guiding you, you will definitely reach to the path where you need to. You will definitely be given what you deserve the most, and it will be the best prasadam from Swami.
Beautiful. Active listening. I mean, most of us struggle with listening even in our daily interactions. We listen to respond rather than to understand, right? So the same applies to listening to our inner voice. Thank you so much, Akka, for reminding us to take that one step towards the Swami within. For me, that was the key. Are we willing to take that one step to listen to the Buddhi and ignore that binding voice that pulls us deeper into entanglement? Are we ready to be free? That's the choice we have to make. Dear listeners, it's now time for some prasadam pills. 1. The inner voice is the chitta and buddhi parts of our mind. It is a warehouse that stores our past, present, and future and knows exactly what we need to be liberated. 2. The manas and ahankara parts of our mind can only give us short-term happiness based on our present likes and dislikes. If we are to let them make the decisions, we will continue to stray from our ultimate dharma. 3. The voice of the manas is wavering and doubting. The voice of the buddhi is still and constant. Following the buddhi brings peace, whilst following the manas brings uneasiness. 4. To quieten the manas and strengthen the chitta, we can identify which of our senses is most active and expose that sense organ to a more calming stimulus. 5. Let's be real, most of us do enjoy the pleasures of the world, and that's why we allow the manas to override the buddhi. So the secret to hearing the inner voice is wanting and being willing to hear it, even if it means moving away from the material world. Next on Inside Scoop, we're talking about acceptance, inclusiveness, and love in the context of the LGBT community. Until next Friday, happy scooping!